Hey there, Kingdom Dream Chasers. All right, so this is going to be the fastest way to find what is slowing your growth. Now, at the end of this episode, I'm going to be giving you the 10 questions that you can go through. I'm going to tell you exactly how to take it. Take this little audit. It's only going to take you about 5 to 7 minutes to do it. But what this episode is for is really the why behind it. All right. Because just taking the assessment, it might not give you the insight that you're going to get because you're hearing the why behind these questions first. So, what if the reason that your business sometimes feels like it's failing isn't because you need to try harder? It's because you've simply been trying to grow a business that has some hidden leaks in its foundation. So you could look at if you're trying to build a house, there's a foundation, right? That's one of the first things that you build so that everything else you build on top of it can carry the weight of it. But unfortunately, especially in this online business world, we're taught to accelerate and go fast. And sometimes we miss pouring, taking the time to make sure our foundation, our infrastructure is really solid and in place. So we get leaks, we get cracks. This is a leak finder because the core of every business is new people to talk to. That means new leads. And if your business doesn't have new leads, every other problem you have is eventually going to go away because you're not going to have the sales to sustain the business. So we've got to have new leads coming in the door. So when you talk about like what's that one domino that if it fell over and everything, it would make everything else fall over in a good way, it usually has to do with your lead acquisition. All right. So that's what we're going to be looking at and why. Now, I'm going to walk you through this lead leak finder. There's only 10 questions, but I'm going to be walking you through, like I said, kind of the why behind it so that you can identify exactly what may be slowing that growth before, please hear me in this, you waste any more time, energy, money trying to solve what might be the wrong problem. Okay. I don't know about you, but I've been in business a long time, and often I find myself focused on trying to solve something, but it really isn't the thing that needs to be solved. It isn't that domino that if I could solve that problem, everything else would start to fall into place. So, what we're going to do is first, I'm going to go through the 10 questions and then you're going to get the 10 questions. But before you get them, I want you to know there's going to be a scoring process. And then I'm going to even tell you at the end what the scoring means. Okay. It's just information. There's no condemnation or judgment in it. It's information. So put your big girl panties on, your courageous heart, and get ready to think like a kingdom CEO. You need to evaluate your business. All right. So you ready? Okay. The first question is about your consistency in posting. Because if you're not letting people know what you do, you don't have a business. I tell my clients, if you don't post, you can't coach. Okay. Because if you're not posting, that means your open sign isn't out. And if you're posting inconsistently, that means your open sign is out very inconsistently, which reduces trust. People like to see that you are committed to what you're doing, that you are showing up for what you're doing consistently. Your message is consistent. Your rate of showing up is consistent. The way you show up is consistent. Okay. So the first one, it's your open sign, it's your trust builder. It says I'm committed. And you know what also it does, guys? This is our mindset. This is bigger than me, what God has called me to. If you have a kingdom business, God has clearly called you to that. And it's bigger than us. So if I don't feel like posting today, if I hate Facebook today, if this is so annoying today, it doesn't matter because what my calling is bigger than those feelings. And I want to show up for the woman that God has called me to serve today, regardless of my feelings. So number one, it's going to ask you, how consistent are you posting? And you're going to get points if you're rarely, if you're posting like every other week, or if you're posting significantly, and it will tell you how to score yourself. Number two, are you in the DMs? Are you direct messaging people? Now, you might be like, well, why is that important? Well, there is not one successful entrepreneur on the planet that won't tell you that the key to their success is relationship building, building relationships. They would not have sales if they weren't really connecting with people. And every single client of mine that works with me will tell you that there is a 100% fact, direct correlation between their sales going up and the amount of time they were spending in the DMs. Fact. Okay. Why? Because they were focused on relationship building. They were in the front of their business rather than always being in the back of their business. And, relationship building is one on one. All right. People love that you're coming into their DMs if you're showing up to give value, create real authenticity, not showing up to pitch. We're not talking about being in the DMs to pitch something. All right. Um, that comes later after the trust has been built when she is already interested. So, um, the question is going to be, again, a number, you're going to get a number 1, a number 5, or a number 10 based on what the question asked you in number 2. All right, ready? Number 3. And you're going to get these questions. All right. I'm just wanting you to walk through this with me so that you're ready and prepared. And as to the why we're doing this. Number 3, the sales conversation confidence. So this is kind of deeper work. Here's the simplicity of it though. You must believe in the solution, the transformation that you offer. Doesn't matter if that's via products or via a coaching program, via one-on-one coaching group program. Doesn't matter. If you don't fully believe in it, she never will. Okay. So that's where your sales confidence starts. The other part of that, which we'll go on to later, is that trust building. Because if you've done enough trust building, your sales conversation confidence is going to be very high because you're not talking to cold leads in a sales conversation. You're talking to warmed up leads in a sales conversation. Can I say that again? You're not having a sales conversation with cold leads. If you are, that means you haven't nurtured them enough yet. You haven't built enough connection yet to be having a sales conversation. That might be why your sales confidence is low. Okay. So, and we call it a right fit lead. You don't want to just be bringing anybody into your space. You need to have a niche and you need to have a specific message. If you've been around me, you know that all too well. That I'm going to preach on that all the time. So again, you're going to score a number 1, a 5, or a 10. Number 4 question. What is your follow-up for your lead tracking system? So once someone kind of engages, all right, where are you taking note of that? I believe that everybody who comes around in my space, at some point, they're a God-given lead. God has brought them into my space, and I need to treat them, steward them, nurture them as if God gave them to me, because he did. So I need to be responsible for tracking those people. And if I think I'm just going to do that by memory, I'm not being honest with myself. That is leads leaking out of my business. Okay. And also, maybe she gave me some indication she wasn't really interested. Well, do I really know that for a fact, or if I'm just guessing? So I need to reach out to her, just checking in with you. I'm curious. Would you like to know a little bit more about? I'm curious. You said this. What did that mean? Don't make assumptions. Follow up. So, and you're tracking that. So the answer is, how robust is your follow-up tracking? If it's completely, or if it's, I have no system at all, leads get lost. Or it's manual, I'm trying. Or my leads are in my CRM, my custom relationship management system, and they are getting nurtured and they are getting tracked. And you can go in, you can see who opened emails, who showed up for an event, who registered for an event. You can see all those tags. Number 5, Facebook group value and engagement. Now, you might not have a Facebook group. I highly recommend them because that means that they have opted in. So, for example, I have a client who had 122 women in a dormant Facebook group. She hadn't been active in there in a long time. And her messaging around health and wellness was very broad. Okay. Because she didn't want to exclude anybody. But you know what? She also wasn't niche. She wasn't building a relationship with anybody. So guess what she did? She took a deep dive, and her heart is Christian. She wanted to build fitness from a faith-based place. She wanted to work with women who are basically menopausal because that's how she knew she could really help those women with those pain points. So guess what she changed her Facebook group name to? Christian Women in Menopause. Something close to that. But those were the key words. Her Facebook group in weeks was almost to 300. Okay. So, and guess what? Every single person coming in was identifying as Christian, woman, well, obvious, and menopause, wanting to get stronger. All right. So they have opted in. That is a beautiful place to be nurturing in the world of Facebook. If you're on your personal profile posting, that's fine. Or even in another somebody else's group, that's fine. But in your group where they've opted in to be there, that's just brilliant. Okay. Um, now, so the question is around how active is your group? How much are you posting? I talk with a lot of clients who are they basically threw their hands in the air on Facebook, but almost 90% of the time, I'm not exaggerating, it's because they didn't have a strategy. They weren't creating a flow that actually increased and helped with engagement. Now, I'm not saying Facebook is perfect. Nor am I perfect in my Facebook group, but there are key things that you need to be doing to be consistent and show up and give value. And then people want to be there. So that was number 5. Number 6 is about, do you have any kind of taste and see event? Some kind of a Zoom gathering where, like this, they get to hear your voice, they get to hear your passion, they get to hear your heart, they get to hear what you do. So I help Christian businesswomen redesign and rebuild the infrastructure so that it can carry the weight of their calling. All right. I help them do that if they're getting started, not really started in business. They're usually seasoned entrepreneurs, but they've never created a system where they've got that kingdom flow going. All right. Or I do a complete total tech build out for clients. Everything from beginning to end, all their workflows, all their automations, all of that, all their graphics, everything professionally granted and integrated. So those are really the two main things that I offer. But I've got to be when you have a one-to-many event, a Zoom gathering, a taste and see, now you can share your screen, you can show visuals, you can have testimonials. It is such a powerful place. And if you're not doing it, you're really missing out. Now you might say, but I don't really like to be like up front and be the speaker. Well, some of you were teachers, some of you were homeschool moms, right? So you're just going to bring in those right fit clients who are hungry for the value that you're going to give. You're not in that event to sell. You're in that event to give value and build trust. Then invite them to want to come into for those who want to come into a journey with you. But there is nothing that can replace the power of the one-to-many event. The Zoom gathering, the workshop, the challenge, the masterclass. Russell Brunson, he is the founder of ClickFunnels. His story is amazing, by the way. If you haven't heard it, you probably could go on YouTube and find it. But he says, and forgive the language here, this is a bad word in my head. But Russell Brunson says the first time you do that taste and see event, whether it's a challenge, a masterclass, whatever, you're going to suck. The 30th time, you're just going to suck a little less. And what he's trying to explain to us is keep going, keep doing it. Every time you deliver, you're going to get better and you're never going to do it perfectly. You're going to learn something new every single time, but that's the gold is the repetition. And then you start tracking numbers and then you start seeing, oh, if I have 30 people come in, register, this many people actually show up, this many people actually want to know more about my offer, this many people actually come into my offer. Oh, okay. Does that happen every time? And then you go and you track your metrics. It's brilliant. All right. So that's number 6. Number 7, what is your nurture system? Remember I said we would address the trust ladder. The trust ladder, imagine if you have a ladder and there's 5 rungs you have to walk up on that ladder. Well, some people put a post out there about a product. All right. That's the first rung of the ladder. Okay. And they put it there and then they want the customer, your lead, to jump all the way up to the top of the ladder at rung number 5. And now they want to bring them into a sales conversation. And then they wonder, why is this so hard? Why isn't this going very well? Because a trust building ladder means there's 3 more steps in between. Maybe you invite them to a call, you invite them to a Facebook group, you invite them to a lead magnet or a free resource. You give value and build trust. All right. By the time they get to the fifth step, they're 75% sold already. You're not selling them anything. You're just inviting them to know more, inviting them into your space where the transformation that you offer. So, do you have a system for nurturing your leads? Do you have a trust building ladder? And if not, again, that could be the very domino that you're looking for when it comes to leads, because it also puts the focus back on you and what you can control, because I can control what to invite someone to. I can't control their response, but I can control the invitations going out. And if the only invitations I have are rung number 1 when they see my post, or rung number 5 when I invite them to know more about my products, that's exhausting. And that's not going to go very well. But if I have a lot more choices that I can invite them to, and I can build trust and give value, now you're going to start seeing some good stuff happen. Okay. Number 8, a CEO has time in her schedule for breaks, and she has protection around her boundaries. So, for example, I work a 4-day work week and I have a 3-day work weekend. And why I made that decision was out of a pain point, because what was happening was I was spending a lot of time. We had moved to a beautiful lake home. I'm staring at the lake outside my window at my desk. I would go out for my little breaks outside and enjoy 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. But I was Friday night, we'd have a little date night, Saturday, go to church on Sunday, and all of a sudden I'm back at it again. I was starting to feel a little resentful and frustrated. And I thought, you know what? If I could condense my work time, my most important task, into Monday through Thursday, I could have a 3-day weekend. Suddenly, my Monday through Thursday got much more effective and efficient. And on Sunday night, I was a happy girl waiting for Monday morning. All right. So that was a boundary that I had to create that actually made me more energetic and excited and effective in my business. So do you have breaks and boundaries protecting your energy, your health, your marriage, your time with the Lord, which we'll get to next? That deserves its own question. All right. So number 9, here it is, the biggie. I don't know why it's number 9, but seeking God first strategy. On a scale of 1 to 10, you're going to give a 1 or a 5 or a 10. Do you, because this is the best business strategy you could possibly have, is seeking him first. He calms our nervous system. We sit in his presence. We remember who we are. We remember who he is. We step into our true identity. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens us all day. But if I don't spend time in the morning in his presence, I'm not moving through him. I'm just out here floating around trying to do Gail's thing. Okay. And the Holy Spirit's like, if I'm lucky, right? So, how are your mornings with him going on a scale of 1 to 10? Again, this isn't about condemnation, guys. This is just about taking inventory. You are your business's number 1 asset. All right. And so, as a business owner, you need to take inventory of your business, and how you're starting your day is a key indicator of success, or a key indicator of something that can be fixed. Lastly, number 10, delegation. Do you have any VA support, or are you of the mindset that if it is to be, it's up to me, I have to do everything myself? So here's what I literally asked my clients this last week, because I had 2 clients at the time together, and they both were, I'll lovingly say, complaining, but they were frustrated with themselves about their calendar, their lack of structure, or more importantly, their lack of following the structure that they'd created for themselves. Okay. They were disappointed in themselves. And it seemed like all these other things, like the tyranny of now, no, I must go do that and I must go do that, even though what I said I was going to do was right there on my piece of paper, but I didn't do it. So, what I have found is, I said to those gals, I said, listen, the way you're operating your business right now, let's say you got 5 coaching clients tomorrow. What would happen to your life? They're like, everything would fall apart. They didn't have the structure that was going to allow for the growth that they were praying for. All right. So sometimes we have to pull back, stop praying for the growth and pray for the wisdom to find the leaks, fix the infrastructure so that we're confident the growth can come and we're ready for it. All right, that's what we want. We want to be kingdom ready for the clients God is bringing us, but it needs a solid infrastructure to carry that weight, or else you're carrying it. And that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. So, where are you in your mindset about hiring a VA? It could be for social media. Doesn't matter what it's for. It's something that is heavy on you and you want to offload it. Now, got to pray about it because sometimes the Lord doesn't, I've had this happen, doesn't want me to offload something. He wants me to stick it out. But other things, He's given me the green light to hire a VA for. So you got to pray and use wisdom on that. So, for example, some will hire a bookkeeper, some will hire a social media person, some will say, oh no, I enjoy my social media, or I don't enjoy it, but I got to figure it out. Once I get it figured out, then I can hire a VA. That's wisdom. Okay. So, for example, right now I want to hire a setter, but I don't have enough leads coming in for the certain offer that I'm working on to, like, my structure isn't ready yet for the setter. Okay. So I had to pull back. Like, it's a good idea, God, thank you, but it's not a now idea, Gail. It's coming idea. Get your infrastructure built first. So it doesn't matter what stage of business you're in, you're going to continue to have to evaluate and look at, okay, what's going on? Where are my leaks? Not do I have any, but where are they so that I can fix them? All right. So that was your score. You could have the maximum points was 100. All right. So what I want you to do is you are going to get the course, you're going to get the test, the audit. There's the 10 questions, and you're going to look at the scoring and you're going to end up coming up with a number. All right. So 80 to 100 is a strong foundation. All right. You're operating with a lot of good, healthy systems in place, but some small refinements and some strategic optimizing probably would make significant momentum happen. 60 points to 79 points, some growth is happening, but so are some leaks. All right. And by the way, in that first category, there's still some leaks there, always. All right. You're never going to have a perfect business. Below 60, these leaks are costing you. They're costing you a lot of energy. They're costing you leads. They're costing you momentum. So every day you're working, but it's like you're sometimes feeling like you're in one place. You're waking up and you're in the same place. And then you work just as hard the next day and then you're in the same place. That could be. All right. So what are the patterns that are becoming clear? So here are your journaling questions for afterwards. What are the patterns for becoming clear? Where do I feel the most friction or heaviness in this, which usually means could be the domino that needs to fall over? What areas have I been avoiding or trying to patch or overcomplicate? I did a lot of duct taping. And if I knew now what I knew then, I wasted a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort learning different systems when I should have just chosen the one. But now I get to help my clients collapse time. So, what areas, where is God inviting you to build with greater wisdom and structure and support? What is the one step, that's that one domino that would create the greatest momentum if it came into fruitful, effective flow? So, all right, guys, you're going to see in the show notes the actual link, a PDF to the questions. It's not an editable document, so you're just going to pull out your journal. And I like it that way for this because I want you to have these questions in your journal. I want you to journal about them, pray about them. And I pray that this is not the only time you're going to do this audit. You're going to do it again and again, maybe in a month, maybe in 3 months, maybe do it quarterly. But come back to it because you will learn every time you go through it. As always, my link is below. You can book a call with me. You can check out my programs. There might be a wait list for one, or you can apply for the other, and just let me know where you're at. And I'd love to walk alongside you.